They started with nothing, laughed at pitches, investors who wouldn't take the call, a market that didn't even know it needed them. Nvidia is a successful GPU company that made its name in the world of AI, gaming, crypto, self-driving, and more. But truthfully, they weren't supposed to exist, let alone become a trillion-dollar company poised for world domination. They weren't run by seasoned CEOs. They were 20-something engineers trying to sell tech no one understood in a market dominated by the old guard. Heck, they were building processors for computers that barely had graphics. Their first product tanked. They were outgunned, outmatched, a blip on the radar compared to giants like ATI and 3DFX. But they kept going. They went public right before the dot-com bubble burst. They faced lawsuits, catastrophic product recalls, supply chain nightmares. Every time the world wrote them off, they defied the odds. So, want to know how a bunch of geeks built a tech empire from scratch? This isn't just a success story. This is a blueprint for doing the impossible. These are lessons sourced from businesses' turnarounds from failure to triumph. These aren't just stories. These are your blueprints for success. This is TurnaroundSource.
Nvidia leading the way.
Nvidia, a name synonymous with cutting-edge graphics, supercomputing, and the brains behind the AI revolution. They're a tech giant that seemingly never stumbles. But behind the headlines, there's a story of fierce competition, nail-biting gambles, and some seriously smart pivots. Did Nvidia get lucky, or is there a secret formula to their decades of dominance? The company was founded by three masterminds in 1993, Jensen Huang, previously a director at LSI Logic and microprocessor designer at AMD, Chris Malachowski, an engineer at Sun Microsystems, and Curtis Preem, a senior staff engineer and graphic chip designer at IBM and Sun Microsystems. The name Nvidia is an amalgamation of two terms, Nvidia, which is the Latin word for envy, and the acronym NV, short for Next Vision, which the company used early on to label its files. Nvidia's founders believed that to advance computer graphics, a graphic processing unit would be needed. Previously, computer games were entirely CPU-based, but this was gradually changing as gaming technology was advancing, slowly moving to Windows from MS-DOS. Graphics, especially 3D graphics, were reliant on considerable floating-point math processing, and the math coprocessor in the CPU was simply not enough. Therefore, in 1999, Nvidia released what it claims was the world's first official GPU, the GeForce 256. How Nvidia managed to become a powerhouse in the world of graphic processing units and artificial intelligence is not something that happened overnight. Nvidia's origins can be traced back to the trio's shared vision of creating a powerful graphics platform. In the early days, the company focused on developing graphic processing units for gaming and professional markets. For decades, Huang has been the face of the world's premier advanced chip manufacturer. Born in Taiwan in 1963, Huang's family immigrated to the United States when he was only 9 years old. He received his undergraduate degree in electrical engineering from Oregon State University in 1984 and his master's degree in electrical engineering from Stanford University in 1992. After college, he worked as a director at LSI Logic and a microprocessor designer at Advanced Micro Devices. However, it wasn't until he was almost 30 in 1993 that he co-founded Nvidia with two other engineers. Exactly 31 years ago, Jensen Huang, Chris Malachowski, and Curtis Preem met at a Denny's restaurant where Huang had once worked as a dishwasher and busboy. Chris and Curtis said one day they'd like to leave Sun Microsystems, and they'd like me to go figure out what they're going to leave for, Huang said during a recent interview with Stanford Graduate School of Business. They insisted I figure out with them how to build a company. Hence, the three masterminds started the world's biggest microchip and GPU company. However, the process of getting funded was no way near easy. Huang said that in the early days, he, Chris, and Curtis used to meet every day for 6 months in one of the founders' townhouses in Fremont, California, and they had nothing to do except talk and go to lunch. They incorporated the company with $200 each, which gave them each 20% stock in the company. Huang also mentioned that he paid $200 to the lawyer who helped them price the shares and incorporate the company. In the year of its founding, the company received an initial investment of $20 million in venture capital funding from firms such as Sequoia Capital. giving it the early financial support and market credibility that would lead to its initial public offering 6 years later in 1999. In the beginning years, the primary focus of Nvidia was GPUs, which served as a major differentiating factor and, in time, a competitive advantage for the company. In the early days, Nvidia faced the kind of teething problems typical of any groundbreaking venture, but with uniquely high stakes. Introduced in 1995, their first product, the NV1, was an ambitious attempt to redefine graphics processing. However, the NV1 struggled commercially due to its unconventional design, which relied on quadratic texture mapping, a method out of step with the industry's move towards triangles, which became the standard due to their flexibility and efficiency in rendering 3D graphics. This decision isolated Nvidia from mainstream software developers who favored more adaptable and widely supported standards. Compounding these challenges, the mid-90s also marked a period of rapid technological changes and economic uncertainty. The tech industry was fiercely competitive, and Nvidia, a newcomer, found itself battling not only for market acceptance, but also for its very survival against established giants like ATI and 3DFX. The situation reached a critical point when major partner Sega, dissatisfied with the NV1's performance for their upcoming gaming console, decided to shift their focus, leaving Nvidia with an abundance of custom-designed chips and no buyers. This misstep nearly pushed Nvidia into bankruptcy. It was a stark wake-up call. The company was on the brink of collapse, burdened with unsold inventory and dwindling cash reserves. Salvation came from a strategic pivot and an audacious bet on the future. Nvidia's leadership, recognizing the need to align more closely with industry standards and consumer expectations, decided to scrap their initial approach and start afresh. In 1996, they shifted their focus to developing the Rive series, GPUs, that aligned with the Direct 3D standard popularized by Microsoft. This move, though risky, signaled Nvidia's willingness to adapt and innovate according to market demands. Furthermore, crucial financial backing came from venture capital firms, including a significant investment from Sequoia Capital. This infusion of capital was pivotal, providing Nvidia with the necessary resources to refine their technology and begin carving out a space in the competitive graphics market. It was this combination of strategic redirection, technological alignment with industry standards, and vital venture capital support that allowed Nvidia to stabilize and eventually set the stage for their future successes. In 1997, Nvidia took its first turning point and gained a firm foothold in the gaming industry with the release of the Riva series of graphic processors. In the following years, the company expanded even more by releasing Riva TNT and PC graphic accelerator chips. As Nvidia navigated through its pivotal moments, adapting and evolving beyond early failures, it reminds us that success often starts with learning from setbacks. This principle is brilliantly explored in Tim Harford's book, Adapt: Why Success Always Starts with Failure. In Adapt, Harford delves into the fascinating world of how successful organizations and individuals have turned potential failures into gateways of innovation, much like Nvidia's strategic pivots that steered them away from near bankruptcy to a trailblazing leader in technology. This book is a must-read for anyone who wants to understand the power of adapting in the face of challenges. Whether you're leading a startup, managing a team, or looking to navigate your own career path, Adapt offers invaluable insights into making the most out of difficult situations. Check out the link in the description below to get your copy and discover how embracing change and learning from failures can set the stage for great achievements. With this, the company entered an era of revolutionary inventions, which the world didn't know were capable of. In 1999, Nvidia went public. Thus began the era of the GPU revolution. Nvidia released the world's first GPU, GeForce 256. The thing was that Nvidia wasn't content to be a niche player. They realized GPUs could be the powerhouse for all kinds of visual computing. The GeForce series of GPUs became the gold standard, not just for hardcore gamers, but for professional workstations too. This product introduced onboard transformation and lighting, TNL, to consumer-grade hardware. The success of these products won Nvidia the contract to develop the hardware for the Xbox and Microsoft's gaming console. What people don't know is that Nvidia received a $200 million advance for the project. Soon after this, Nvidia started to solidify its position as a formidable gaming console chip supplier. Meanwhile, in the middle of the decade, came a pivotal deal for Nvidia. Sony selected Nvidia to assist in the design and manufacturing of the RSX reality synthesizer proprietary graphics processor for the Sony PlayStation 3. However, what the company wanted was to venture beyond the gaming industry. This is what helped Nvidia become a trillion-dollar company and remain one of the leading giants within and outside the industry. That being said, the opportunity to diversify didn't come until 2003. This is when Nvidia worked with NASA to develop a photorealistic Mars simulation. It was revolutionary as it showed what Nvidia's technology was capable of and how it could reshape the future of AI and digital simulations. Moreover, Nvidia also became a major chip supplier for a number of Audi's vehicles. However, with recognition came a series of setbacks. At the center were reports that certain mobile phone chips and GPUs had abnormal failure rates as a result of manufacturing defects. Despite this, the company never revealed which products were affected, and as a result of this, the company also had to face the consequences. Soon after, Nvidia found itself at the receiving end of a class action lawsuit, which wouldn't be settled until September 2020. In January 2011, Nvidia signed a $1.5 billion cross-licensing deal with IBM, which ended all pending litigation between the two firms. Luckily, or perhaps with keen forward-leaning insight, no one knew that the company's development in parallel computing technology would not only help the chip manufacturer recover from its end-of-decade slump, but would also help launch the company's leading position in a then-remote field, artificial intelligence. The company made its name as of the leading manufacturers of GPUs and microprocessors by this time. However, Nvidia's boldest move was yet to come. In 2006, they released something called CUDA. It sounds technical, but the idea was revolutionary. CUDA lets programmers use Nvidia GPUs for general computing, not just graphics. But the world was skeptical of this move, with one question lingering in over their heads. Why bother with this when Nvidia is crushing in the gaming market? Internal voices within the company, although did not surface in the media, were also against it, dubbing it too risky. But the founders had something else in mind. In 2006, Nvidia introduced the CUDA, Compute Unified Device Architecture platform, a breakthrough that expanded the role of GPUs beyond graphics processing. CUDA allowed developers to harness the parallel processing power of GPUs for general-purpose computing, paving the way for advancements in fields such as scientific research, finance, and artificial intelligence. When Nvidia started working on CUDA in the mid-2000s, they were betting on the idea that GPUs could be repurposed for general computing tasks beyond graphic rendering. However, this was a risky step for the company since it represented a significant departure from the graphical applications. Ultimately, this gamble paid off as CUDA became widely adopted across various fields, including scientific computing, artificial intelligence, and high-performance computing. However, it was not all rainbows and unicorns. The company did face a number of setbacks. It was 2006 when Nvidia's dominant market position was placed under the scope of antitrust watchdogs. This is when the company received its first subpoena from the U.S. Department of Justice regarding possible antitrust violations. This regulatory scrutiny hit a fever pitch in 2020 when Nvidia attempted to purchase ARM Ltd. for $40 billion. One thing to note here is that ARM's chips were used to power hundreds of devices at that time, like iPhones, iPads, and Amazon Kindles. The decision to purchase ARM was met with a lot of resistance from regulators across the globe. As a result, the deal was ultimately scrapped in 2022. But one scrapped deal couldn't take the tech giant down. It was also in 2022 when Nvidia's investment in AI paid off. By focusing on processing speed and deep learning, the company was not only able to improve GPU capabilities, but also contributed greatly to AI innovation. The founder and CEO of the company, Huang, said, "The more you give to a problem, the more it gives back." It reflects Nvidia's approach to AI, characterized by a willingness to invest deeply in tackling challenging problems, which has resulted in significant returns and positioned the company as a key player in the AI industry. When word got out that OpenAI's ChatGPT platform, which set off a global rush toward AI technology, was built upon 10,000 Nvidia GPUs, rival platforms clamored for Nvidia chips, and investors clamored for Nvidia shares. Besides the acquisition of ARM, the company also faced a few other setbacks. For instance, the failure of Tegra smartphone chips after its initial success in 2011. With Tegra, Nvidia envisioned your smartphone becoming a gaming powerhouse. They were actually ahead of the curve, but the market wasn't ready. One of the major challenges faced by Nvidia was the high power consumption of its Tegra processors. This led to poor battery life in mobile devices, a significant drawback for consumers who prioritize battery efficiency. In the mobile market, power efficiency is a key factor, and Nvidia's Tegra processors fell short in this aspect. However, Tegra wasn't a total flop either. Its legacy lives on in surprising places, like a little thing called the Nintendo Switch, proving that sometimes Nvidia's tech just needs to find the right niche. In 2020, Nvidia also struggled with chip shortage, which was primarily driven by increased demand, supply chain disruptions, and the specialized nature of semiconductor manufacturing. However, they still managed to overcome it with a mix of supply chain optimization, communication with customers, and long-term planning. The company's future depends on its ability to develop new hardware and software, the potentially revolutionary effects of artificial intelligence, and how it will use its leading position in GPUs to influence the direction of developing technologies. Seeing the amount of work the company has put into the evolution of AI and advanced processing speed, we can see that the success of Nvidia was more than just a mere fluke. It was revolutionary. It was a noteworthy advancement in the world of technology and artificial intelligence. As we reflect on Nvidia's journey from near failure in 1995 to global dominance, it's clear that this wasn't merely about surviving the odds, but about reshaping an entire technological landscape through foresight, innovation, and relentless perseverance. Your business turnaround could be just a few smart decisions away. Join us on this journey to success by liking, subscribing, and joining our exclusive mailing list for more content. The link is in the description box below. We also invite you to comment with the turnaround stories you'd like us to explore next. Remember, these are your blueprints for success.